we want to get some things done, but we have to change some modalities. That is why we're bringing to the fore this moment this topic, which borders on state policing implementation. How desirable. My name is Charity James, and I will not be doing the program alone. I have Doyin Sola here, Ogunbadewa, in the studio with me, and with two other gentlemen who will be analyzing our topic. We have CP Olayinka Balogun, retired. He is a consultant on community policing, PSC. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, madam.
It's good to have you in the studio.
My pleasure.
Joining us via Zoom is Dr. Abiodun Odushote, the Associate Professor of Public Law. He is from UNILA. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning. Good morning. Good to have you here.
Good to have you join us on the program. And now we'll kickstart the program. Let's start with this. Doing good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice having you on the program with me.
Yeah.
Now let's start with this issue of state policing. We hear that the Nigerian police force, started with the policing of Nigeria, has inaugurated a committee to look into this state policing of a thing. Now, the question now is state policing a necessity or a risk waiting for a challenges ahead of it? Let's start with CP Olayinka Balogun.
Good morning, House. Let me start by introducing myself. My name is Olayinka Balogun. I'm a retired commissioner of police. I'm also a lawyer. I have a PhD in community policing and law. I have worked with the police for about 30 years. I've been at the bar for about 30 years too. And I've gone around this country. I've done policing in the administration, the operations, all over the place. I've headed state command. And I've come to realize that security has become part and parcel of me. Just as Nigerians, the society must look at security as something that is a sine qua non. Security is like oxygen. You don't have a choice. You don't dictate where you want to utilize it. It must be all over the place. And so, in as much as we are not, those of us who are advocating state police and community policing, in as much as we are not saying that central police should be cancelled, we are saying that to supplement central policing, there must be state policing. Just like any other amenity, state policing, state police must go to the root, must go to everywhere where there is need for security. And I want to congratulate those who are, I'm an advocate, I'm an unrepentant advocate of state police, because it is something that has to do with complementing what's on ground. How many parts of this country can centralized police cover? If you say you are 200 million people and you don't have up to 1 million policemen covering this area, the federal government cannot take care of all this. But there are state governments, there are local government police, local governments that can subsidize, that can supplement, that can come out and provide the security. For want of other things to add, state police will carry some risks, just like any other human endeavor will carry some risks. When you are starting any project, you will look at the risk, you look at the gains. When you weigh it and you discover that the gains are more than the risks, then you go for the gain. Then you start working on how to minimize or to reduce the risk. When people want to throw away state police, it's like throwing away the baby and the bath water. State police has to be brought in. I'll give one example. One serious advantage of state police. If you start state policing today, if you start recruiting people for state police, it means that in the next 2 years you will have crashed unemployment market among the youth. If Ogun State can employ 20,000 men, Lagos 20,000, Kaduna 10,000, and so on, by the time you implement the thing for 2 years, you will have brought in a lot of these idle young men into employment. They will be trained and they will be useful. And as we put it, as one of the advocates, when you employ the youth into security, you also give their fathers job. It is their fathers that will build barracks. They will supply uniform. They will supply boots. And the economy would indirectly benefit from what is going to happen. State police is a sine qua non. You must carry policing, security, like fresh air to everywhere. In developed world, you have federal police, you have state police, you have local government police, you have university police, you have market police. The police there means security. Of all these places I've mentioned, which of them will not need to be secured? Is it the market that is won't secure? Is it a park that won't secure? Is it the school? Is it the farm? Everywhere needs security. And if centralized policing cannot do the job, then we have to go down and supplement through state police.
Okay, you said a lot, but you know that the debate about state police in Nigeria it's complex, and while some argue that it is necessary for several reasons, like you've been doing, we have some people that are agitating against it, like, okay, if we say that it is necessary, however, there are some concerns that we need to put in place, like abuse of power, resource constraints too. You know, when these people, it is very easy to say that, okay, let us employ people, let's train some people to be state police, like you have analyzed, market police and the rest like that. But is there resources to pay them? Can we afford it? Even if it is each state, you know that each state, they are the ones that can say, this is what we can afford. Maybe Ogun State can say, okay, I can afford to employ like 40,000. Some other states may not be able to afford more than maybe 1,000. So is there resources in place for the state police?
Well, I'm a Yoruba. Let me use this. Bí ọwọ́ kẹrẹ bá ṣe tó ló máa fi níjú. That is, ìwọ̀n eku ni ìwọ̀n ìtẹ́. Even in developed world, in the US where you have them, all these states, they don't have equal number of policemen. In Ogun State, if you have a big market in Ogun State, for example, in Ogun, where you have a big commercial hub, avenue, all over the place, if you want those commercial hubs to bring money, if you want them to function, then you must secure them. And so the more you put into the security, the more it takes back to you. Like I've said it earlier, we're not asking all these states to, in fact, they don't even need to start at the same time. We have 36 states, for God's sake. 10 can say we are ready for state police, and they start recruiting, they start training. By the time the positive result of those activities starts coming out, other states will join. Because what it means is that when a place is secure and criminals can no longer go there, they will go somewhere else. And so if you know that these people that are chasing away from a particular place will come to your place, you also secure your place. And I have said it earlier, security has no, you don't debate it. You don't debate security. It's so basic that we woke up this morning, we're all here. If there has been some pandemonium in our places of residence, we will not be here this morning. If you get to a place and there's fire incident, there's a commotion, you have to go back home. But because those places are secure, I've worked in command, I've worked in states. In the morning, commissioners of police, officers of the SSS, we do some little analysis and we get across to the governors and to the political okay, you can't go to so place today because so are happening there. That is security. You give that update, you explain it, and if it means that the governor will not go to that place today, he will not go there. Before he will go there, maybe we will have been there to go and see what is going on there. Look at this issue of Boko Haram, for example. If there had been state police, if there had been forest police, if they had been there, how would those people come from outside and enter the place? You don't bypass my compound and enter my house. If those people, if the security is placed, let me say something about this risk, because I've had these stories. I've been on this thing for the past 20-25 years. I'm a non-repentant believer in state police. I have seen it all over. I've attended various institutions. I was at the FBI Academy in the US, one of the best police training institutions in the world. And you see this thing being practiced. Now, people will come and say, some people will use it against some people. Which power has not been abused by man since the inception of this world? When a man has small power, unless he's really schooled, unless he's educated, unless he's exposed, he will misuse it. But we will not say because of that, because this Oba or this governor may become a problem. Let us not have a governor. Let us have an Oba. It's not possible. In the old Oyo kingdom, you have the Yonosi. You put the last in there, very, very powerful, but the Yonosi will be there. When he misbehaves, they will tell him, no, it's not like that. Same thing will apply to state police. There is law. There is procedure. If a governor decides to oppress somebody with the state police, the man will take him to court. And they will go to court. If he wins, then you collect money from him, and then the man will know. But I'm saying this. Those are political areas. A man is in a political world, is in a social world, is in an economic world, is in a religious world. How are we now going to say, because the political area is not good, let us jettison the remaining ones? No. Okay. We will face that one that is giving us problems, and we'll resolve it. And I'll tell you, those that are going to be state police commissioners or officers, they are not going to be illiterate. They are not going to push about. No, there are people that would know what they
Okay, now let's go to the associate professor who joined us via Zoom and talk about a little bit about the constitutional rights or the law backing all of these things. Now, a lot of talks are gearing towards and favoring the creation of state police these days. And the people are saying that if Nigeria is so serious about creating state police all across the state, then they must look into the law backing the security apparatus of the nation. So, talking about law and the constitution, how well can the state policing be entrenched into the constitution of Nigeria? Don't forget that Nigeria Police Force is still the central police body that oversees all of these things. So law and constitution, how can it be used to maybe guide and safeguard how this police, state police will be operating when they eventually come on board? Are you there?
Thank you for that profound question. And I said good morning to you and to all the audience. In relation to the legal framework on state policing in Nigeria, there's no controversy about that. Section 214 sub 1 of Constitution provides that there shall be one Nigerian police force. Despite the many efforts that have been made to have some other bodies, like in the eastern part of the country, we have Eastern Network, Security Network, we have the second in Southwest, and all of that. We have civil defense, but there shall be one Nigerian police. So the first step to be taken, if you want state police, is to make sure that we amend the Constitution. And how can we amend the Constitution? Because it's something that can be amended. It requires two-thirds majority of the National Assembly. And after having two-thirds majority of the National Assembly, you also require approval of at least 24 House of Assemblies of the state. Then we can have state police. But if you ask me, the problem is not about the legal framework. We are human beings, we are dynamic, and there's nothing sacrosanct about the legal framework. It can always be amended. But I think I want to interrogate whether actually there's a need for state policing or not. Now, before I engage with that and the subsequent legal frameworks that will have to be put in place, what are the complaints about?
Dr. Odushote, are you still there? Okay, he's been talking about the legal framework of all of this. Let's come back into the studio and take on Dr. Balogun on what who think the legal framework. You are a lawyer as well, and you said you've practiced for over 30 years.
Yes,
you must have known and seen the law that backs the security.
Let me help my learned friend. If you notice the movement, the president, I think I as a person, I must congratulate him for believing in state police. And then the current IGP too, because he too is interested in the matter. But you see that the two of them, when they started from legal framework, the president has thrown the gauntlet. He has told the National Assembly people to go to the relevant section, amend it, so that we can bring what the Constitution is saying, there shall be only one police outfit. So the same Constitution can now say, in addition to this, there can also be so. Just like you have federal universities, you have state universities, you have federal hospitals, you have state hospitals. So if it's going to be beneficial to members of the public, then we'll have to amend it. Now, the issue of this risk that everybody has continued to mention, I agree. But if a man has to go to medical surgery for him to live, are we going to say no, that there should be no surgery, let the man continue to suffer? Security is so important, and I'm sure you all know that it's so important that you cannot joke with it. See what we have gone through in this country in recent times over this kidnapping, Boko Haram, and so on. And every security outfit needs two very, very vital sources of strength. One is strength, like I've said, strength, number. There is a big gain in number. If you have 10 farms in different places and you want to secure them, 10 farms, you can employ 5 security men. That's what the Yoruba will say. You have enough. You need enough men to do a particular volume of work. So if you look at the Nigerian population, look at our factories, factories, hospitals, big industry are supposed to have security men. They don't have to be policemen with us, but they must be there. Policing serve as a deterrent. When criminals know that a particular place is a no-go area, they will not go there. And you can only do that if you have enough men. The second thing that a security outfit will need is equipment. When you assess a particular venture, we want to do so, we will need 10 vehicles to do it. You cannot put 3 there. It will not work. You have to put 10 vehicles there, and then you equip those vehicles. If it is police vehicle, you put a siren, you put tires, you put this. Like I've said, I have done this thing on ground, and I've seen what it is. If you know what some police officers go through, some DPOs, some commissioners of police, I have done it. I've been there. You have a vast area to cover, but you have very limited number of men to do it. And so we are saying that if the federal police cannot, and of course it cannot, it's not done. It's not like when you have a federal university, you should have a teaching hospital. It is that teaching hospital that will come out with what is happening in that university, in that hospital, general hospital. or federal university or whatever it is. And so whatever the federal police may be formulating up there, state police will carry it down. My auntie in the village does not care if the governor and the minister of something, if they are quarreling. No, it's not her business. But he wants to carry her yams, her cassava, her banana that she has spent a whole year nursing. She wants to be able to carry them to the nearest market without being willing.
Doctor, let's go back to Dr. Odushote. He's back now. And let him talk about the coordination using the law and constitution now. How best do you think, if state policing is in place now, and a lot of states are buying the ideas and they want to use it, how should they be coordinated? Don't forget that the Nigerian police force will not be strapped. They will still be there doing their job. How coordinated would this be for them? And there are community policing too that each state is looking at. For the Southwest, we have Motekun and all that. And the Southeast has their own. The North too has something about community policing. So the coordination, would it be so cumbersome for the states to handle?
Thank you again for your profound question, and I apologize for the network failure. So I was trying to say that, well, the Nigerian Constitution provides for just one state police, but we still have some supporting aspects that support enforcement work. And I'm saying that I've previously unconditionally advocated for state policing. But now my position is that, my position is now conditional. Except there are certain parameters, there are certain things, there are certain safeguards that can be put in place. Having state police can be dangerous. Let me put it that way without mincing words. Now, what am I saying? I agree that the Nigerian police force will still remain. That is the way it is in most parts of the world where we have federalism, in the US, in Australia, in Germany, etc., even in UK. Now, I know as well that you asked me legal framework, that each of them will have different jurisdictions. For example, state police will enforce state laws, criminal laws of the state. It will enforce state regulations. It will enforce laws like murder, robbery, traffic offense, burglary, etc. While the federal force will deal with things like terrorism, drug enforcement, fire and arms, secret service, immigration. So there will be clear demarcation in respect of their jurisdiction and powers of enforcement, which will be great. However, we must not discountenance the reservations of critics, because this can easily be abused. I don't want to mention some names in Nigeria, and if power is given to them, look at local government elections, look at state independent national electoral bodies. Any government that assumes power, it is party that will win all the local government elections. Will that same thing not repeat itself when we have state police? Will it not be weaponized against politicians? Will it not be weaponized against their sensitive views? So, I also what about the recruitment and appointment and promotion process? Do we not know remember what happened in Lagos in 2023 elections? Now, what about godfatherism and nepotism? Look, my argument, so that I'm not mistaken, is that I support state police, absolutely. In as much as the powers are correctly and properly delineated by the legal framework that will set them up. A state police has nothing to do with terrorism. A state police should have nothing to do with fire and arms. They will carry arms. But when it comes to offense in relation to firearms and explosives, immigration, civil service, secret service, bank robbery. They should not be involved in that. Drug and exterior. Now, what are the problems? Why are we even agitating for state police? It's because of undue centralization of the Nigerian police force. Because they are not responsive, they are not efficient. We have stories of terrorism going on in a place, kidnapping going on in a place, and there is no response for 2 hours. That will not happen if you have state police. But the other issues that may repeat itself and they may be worse under state police, including the issue of welfare. Welfare is very important. What parameters are we going to put in place to make sure that a police officer is dignified? Dignified in terms of his remuneration, dignified in terms of his appearance. What are we going to put in place to make sure that he has necessary equipment to work? Wherever in part of this country, you see policemen going about with body cam. It can record you, it can record images, it can record voice. We introduced it in Nigeria, but we are not seeing it all over. How are we going to make sure that equipment are properly supplied? Look, to be candid with you, I know Lagos, Ogun, Oyo, and all the Southwest states, they will fund police. Indigenous will even contribute and fund police. But I'm not sure of what will happen in other parts of the country. And when we talk about Nigeria, we must be careful. What do we want to talk about limited manpower? In Nigeria, as of today, our police is rated first out of 5th worst performing police in terms of infrastructure, in terms of processes, professionalism, training, accountability, crime control, and safety. We are rated first worst police. What, apart from just having state police, like sometimes we have states paying local government staff, paying state civil servants. How have they been different from federal? So it's not in the nomenclature alone. It's not in breaking down the structure alone. It's how do we ensure effectiveness? And I can quickly give you options about how we can make this state policing work. Number one, there must be independent oversight bodies that will comprise of human rights advocates, that will comprise of retired policemen, that will comprise of media, that will comprise of state officials as well. So it's like trust fund that we have in Lagos State. They are very effective because it embodies private sector as well. So we must have that in place. Their jurisdiction must be properly delineated. They must be paid far and above ordinary civil servants. No civil servant is ordinary, but they must be paid above civil servants. Look at central bank employees. Look at NMP. They must work as well, and they must be provided with proper tools to be able to work effectively. So that is the only way we can ensure professionalism. Also, we can also make money through VIP protection. If you want VIP policemen to be protected, you pay humongous amount of money that will go into the police cover and that they will use in maintaining the police. We must also reform our judicial system so that if I perceive any injustice, any complaint against the state police, I can quickly go to the court and I can quickly get remedy. So what I'm saying in essence is that there must be trust, there must be accountability, there must be proper funding. If you don't address all these issues, it will be worse than the federal police and it can easily be abused.
All right, Doctor. Doctor, thank you. In fact, that has been a comprehensive one. He almost touched all the aspects. Okay, now let me direct this question to you before I come to the studio. You mentioned that a lot of things must be put in place before we consider creating state police. But don't forget that already some states, they have some form of state police in place, like in the Southwest we have Amotekun. And even apart from that, there are some other security agencies, private ones that are already in operation. So those ones now, they are not under state police yet, but I want to ask, can they be put under state police? Now, like maybe retraining them to fit into what we really want, or you think that those ones should be there and they should still recruit much more people for the state police?
Is there a question in that? Please, can you repeat the question? I can't hear you properly.
Okay. I said that you have said a lot, but in recruiting the state police now, we talk about the ones that have been in existence, like the Amoteku and some private security outfits. So now, can they still co-opt those ones into the state police, or they should be employed newly? All the state police should be employed newly, they should be recruited newly and trained afresh.
Permit me to give an example that may not resonate with you or may not be very popular. But you asked me a question and I want to give you a very honest answer.
Okay.
When Dangote wanted to start his refinery, that is the best refinery, one of the best refinery and one of the largest in the whole world, what did he do? All these banks that are functioning very well and the telecoms that we use, the MTN of this world, the Glo, I don't want to mention names, so I don't do advice. Telecom companies. What did they do? They sought expertise, professionalism, integrity, training, and training is part of it. Look, I watched a situation where if you want to ask state police, particularly in our Ogun State, and we always lead by example, and want our state police to be the most efficient, the most effective, the most resource police force. So what I'm advocating for is that we should tap the experience of retired police officers, we should tap the experience of police from outside the country, UK, US, anywhere we can find effective policing. Let's tap their brain and let's get it right from the beginning. And let the recruiting process be immune from political interference. I'm repeating that. We all know how we operate in Nigeria. Once there is political interference, once there is nepotism, there will not be accountability. Because there will somebody that will always give a phone call, lock that person up, release that person, don't move. For if we allow professionals, not retired, and those that have not honored, even in Nigeria, we combine it with borrowed experiences from other jurisdictions, put them together and set them up, like what the president is even doing now. He's not saying I'm establishing state police. He's saying IG set up a committee. That committee is presently formulating the structure and the framework and everything, and now it's going to happen. So when the law has been amended, the constitution has been amended, and there's time now to start the state policing, our governors should not just jump into the fora and establish police. They should set up committees that will involve captains of industries. In all of the states now, we have a lot of industries. Probably we have more industries, you know.
Okay. Let's come to the studio now. No, you know, I wanted to answer a different question from that because he has mentioned a lot that should be done into our constitution. So I also want to ask you that what part of the constitution do you think we need to amend, or the constitutional reforms that are needed for state police? Because already we know that in our constitution is not there.
It is just one aspect of the constitution that will be amended. The area that says there shall be only one police force for this country, and that's why we have had only federal police till now. But let me say that it is gladdening that Nigerians, at least most Nigerians, have come to realize the need for state police. But we'll not jump into the market without preparing, and that's why the president mentioned two serious areas. He is talking about amending the constitution to accommodate state police. And secondly, there's an implementation committee that has been set up that is checking on how best to set up this state police. And without being immodest, I'm a retired commissioner of police. I worked with this, I'm from Ogun State. I have worked here. I have worked on this issue of state police and community policing. Without being immodest, my PhD is on community policing. What about on here? And I have gone into this thing. What the prof is saying is very correct. Be fair. But I'm saying that we cannot because of that fear, throw away something that has serious effect on our security. If there is anything, first of all, let us admit that we need a vehicle. We can now decide on what type of vehicle that we need. If the road is bumpy or is not a smooth road, you don't go and put a fragile car on such road. So you look for a vehicle that can withstand that place. You look for a driver that can handle it. And I dare say that in this country, we have a lot of such people. We have retired police officers. I'm one of them, and there are so many of them. Even the committee that the president has set up, the IG has set up, most of them are retired police officers. Some are serving, some are retired, because we need their experience. What everybody that has something to say or to note about this venture should come out and bring their ideas. But state police is necessary. We need it to carry security to the grassroots. Security is not for only big men. It should be for everybody. And I said it earlier. Do you choose where to breathe oxygen? No. You must breathe it. It's automatic. Anywhere, even here, where we are now, if anything happens that will bring this equilibrium, everybody would, it will shake us. And so this security is everywhere. Even the cloth we are putting on is security. We are securing the body. And so it's something that has to go down. And if you look at developed world, where they are practicing this thing, where they have federal police, where they have state police, they are working. It's talking of jurisdiction. Even now, we have jurisdiction. Even within the central police, there are matters that are handled by the Force CID in Alagbon. There are matters that are handled by the Special Force Unit. I have worked in all those places I know. There are some cases that the division knows that it cannot handle because of the intricacies. So that jurisdiction is already there. It will happen when there is state police. There will be jurisdiction. All we need to do is to copy how it is done in developed world. We all enjoy when we go there. Most of our people that go to London, you go to US, you are not, some of them will not even see any federal police officer. Because you have these policemen in your counties, in your local government. You run to them. Take Ogun State, for example. I'm from Ijebu-Ode. This is the state capital. There are some places in Ogun State that you need about 2-3 hours to reach Abeokuta. If there is a serious security breach, will you go from Ibeade, from Abigi, to come to Abeokuta to look for that kind of thing? No. That thing must be at your doorstep, just like local government, the councillor. It must be there. State police has many advantages. A lot of disadvantages too. But let us see it. Let's see it. These are the advantages. It will be more than the disadvantages. So let us grab this. As for the disadvantages, let us sit down. Like Prof said, a lot of people can sit down. If you want to do state police, it has to be like this, it has to be like this. Bring ideas, but we cannot jettison it if we want to make progress.
Okay, Dr. Odushote, let's go into some of the operations, how the state police will be operating that you mentioned while we were talking the other time, and you specifically said that the Central Police Force now are saddled with a lot of responsibility, and they will be handling some criminal offenses like banditry, drug abuse, and all that. And the state police will be given some other operations. Don't you think this will bring a lot of limitation to how they operate? Because this terrorism, banditry will happen in the locality of a state. And if we are waiting for the federal police force to come and handle that while the state police is on, why then is the state police being on board? Why are they operating? Don't you think it will bring some limitations?
Thank you. I will answer that profound question from two perspectives. Like the retired policeman in the studio said, and I totally agree with him. Even at the moment we have restrictions. At the moment, there are things you can report at the local police station. There are things that will take you to Zone 2 in Lagos. So there has always been that restriction. What I've said earlier is that state police will have jurisdiction on state laws and jurisdiction in respect of things like armed robbery, murder, traffic offences, burglary, and etc. Now you talk about kidnapping. Now terrorism is a grievous offence, and it will take time for state police to even develop expertise in that field. Is a grievous offence. So when I say they should have decision, just look, intelligence world. I did a bit of security when I was in London. I was not a police officer or anything, but I did a bit of security. There's what we call intelligence. Intelligence. We have instances where they will say, we have reported to the police or the security authorities for the past 24 hours that some people are grouping and they are coming to attack us, but they did nothing. In that kind of scenario, we are not saying they cannot be arrested or something, or they cannot share intelligence with the federal unit. When every of our forests, every of our area has drones, has CCTV, it's about intelligence. Then you call the federal force in. You can do preliminary work. You can arrest. When you arrest, you hand them over to the federal to deal with it. So that the issue of religion, ethnicity, and all that sentiments will normally whip up in Nigeria will not come into it. Oh, they arrested me because I'm not from Ogun State. They arrested me because I'm from Lagos. All that will not come into it. You arrest the person, you have the intelligence to know that an attack is coming. You move in, you arrest them, and hand them to the federal police. And the federal police will prosecute them. So I think there's nothing wrong with that demarcation. Since we are still maintaining the Nigerian police force, and there's no way we have to maintain them, they must have differentiated jurisdiction, and it's the norm all over the world. But again, I repeat, the whole thing comes down to, number one, funding. Number two, how do we create awareness? How do we make sure that this issue of low confidence in police becomes high confidence in police? How do we gain the public trust? Those are the things that we need to research on quickly now before state police. Because if an average Nigerian has information now, it will not be too confident to call the police officer that I see some people here, because he doesn't even know how that information will be handled to protect his safety. How do we make sure that people see police as truly their friends? How do we completely change the security architecture to make sure that the state, the residents of the state, when they see police, they like the police, they wave at the police, they give them information, they encourage them. Those are the things we should talk about now. The issue of jurisdiction all over the world, each of them must have their respective jurisdiction. Thank you.
All right, let's quickly talk about how the state police laws can interact with the federal policing powers. I am directing this to you, Doctor, because we cannot create, we cannot have two police divisions that will not, that will contradict each other. So how do we create state police laws that interact with the federal policing powers?
There are two doctors.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Okay, you did not hear me.
Dr. Odushente.
So the question is for you. So I was asking that how would the state police laws interact with the federal policing powers? Because when we have two police, one for federal and state police, they should work hand in hand, their laws should interact. So how do you think we can go about this?
What I assume you are asking me is, how will the relationship between the federal police and the state police be defined?
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be defined in the framework. And it should be defined in the framework. And from the beginning, even before we go on setting up the state police, there should be awareness and orientation. Because the gentleman you have in your studio is the first retired police officer or police officer that I know is supporting state police. We should make sure that there is advocacy, there is training, that they don't see themselves as rivals. They must see themselves as complementing each other. Because a lot of the police officers that I've seen in the media interviews like this, that I've interacted with, they want to maintain the status quo. They want just a single police force. So they need to be reorientated that the state police, they are not rivals. We have to complement each other. If I have problems, I feel more comfortable to relate with somebody I see every day. Somebody we meet together in church. Somebody we meet together in mall. Somebody we see on the street. It's fine for me to relate with him. So what I'm saying here is that once the legal framework will effectively define the relationship, and also there should be advocacy and training to make sure that they see themselves as sister organizations, not rivals.
Okay. Coming to you, I want to ask this last question from me. Are there precedents for state police in Nigeria's legal history, or is this being agitated for the first time?
There was regional police command pre-independence. Western region had a police structure. Northern region had a police structure. Eastern region, they all have commissioners. It was the military setting that collapsed this setting, because the military is centralized. The supreme commander says yes, and it becomes yes. So, but when the white man was there, because he had it in his country too, he had regional police, he had state police, because anything that is centralized will run into trouble. NTA used to be the only television station in this country. University of Ibadan used to be the only one. But it has to be centralized so that more people benefit. Same thing with security. So it's not the first time it has been there. It should now go to issue of orientation. And I want to assure my brother here that a lot of people are not getting the police with this. The policeman that we have today is very much educated, exposed. We collect prizes and commendations all over the world anytime we go. So we are not the same police that some people may be thinking in the past. We are exposed. We are educated. You have a lot of educated people in the police. Some of us are even being asked to go and teach policing in other parts of the world. But you see, at times the pastor or the prophet may not have honor in his home. But the fear that some people are nursing are genuine fears, but they can be rectified. If there is something that we need and there is an obstacle to that thing, we go there and remove that obstacle so that we can make progress. All over the world, there is federal police, there is state police, there are local government police. Do you know that in those days when there was police in the universities, this cultism, this student wahala was not as much as this, because there are police officers in the schooling. That is the intelligence he's talking about. That is underground work. You live in the same room with some students. You don't even know that they are policemen. You don't know that they are SSS men. That's intelligence. But you can only do that if that person is on spot. He will be there with when they are holding the meetings. He will be there. When they are trying to disrupt something, he will be there. That's intelligence, and that is state. That is the structure that will go down. I want us to all agree. A lot of us have agreed anyway, but we must have critics naturally. But we have to wait. I used to use one crude example. I tell my friends, because there are occasional plane crashes, do we start trekking to Kano? No. What we do is there are plane crashes. It's so bad. Good. We face the plane, the aircraft itself. Make sure it is in good order. Then do a lot of other things that will get them to obey the weather, get them to know the job. So the police, the state police that we are going to set up, will be trained, because they even carry experience of federal policing to this state policing.
Dr. Balogun, we have just 2 minutes before we leave.
Let us put control, that's all.
Let's talk about recruitment now. The political will to recruit the needed personnel.
Yes.
Do you think it will be there? It is the state who will be handling this recruitment.
Yes, it will be there because those that will do the recruitment are the people. That's the difference now. Okay. That is state police. If I'm an Ijebu, if I'm an Egba, and I want to recruit people to go and work in my place, will I recruit people that will go and exploit my people in the village? No. I will look at the person. I will even look at the mannerism. I will even look at the language. Can this man speak the language of the people he's going to police? So the power, the will to do it is there, and that is what the implementation committee that's on now, that's what it's doing. Let us all go and make input. We will have the will. People recruited us. I was recruited in this Abeokuta some 30 years ago or more into the police. I'm still part and parcel of the state, and I still go to my people, and I still understand them. What we do in developed world that we're talking about, there is no English policeman in Dublin. There is no Irish policeman in England. Go and check. That is state policing. People that understand the culture, the morale, and the workings of the place. So that even body language is enough to solve a crime.
Okay. Time won't permit us to go beyond this. Thank you so much, Dr. Odushote, for coming on the program and analyzing this topic with us. It is a very important topic, and I think all stakeholders who watched us this morning will have taken note, especially those that you gave on the program. Thank you so much for your time, Doctor.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
And we want to thank Dr. Balogun too, a retired police officer, commissioner of police at that, and for your experience and your opinions and suggestions on the program. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
All right, Doyin, we need to leave the program and allow other programs to come on until next Friday. Friday is another one where we'll be having a new done. We'll say goodbye from here, Doyin Sola.
Okay, until Friday, when you're going to join our colleagues on New Dawn again, I say that just be a good ambassador of this country. Bye from me.